Hey everyone, this is Stephen Strong at Cast Iron Cookware, where you can find information to help you better collect, restore, and use cast iron cookware. Okay, Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and I decided it would be a good time to go ahead and get a roast turkey recipe together and do it in cast iron. And we're going to be doing that coming right up. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's purchased my product, Easy Beasy Cast Iron Seasoning. The purchase of this product helps get this channel going, and I just want to say thank you so very much. Now, let's get on to our video. One of the biggest things about baking a turkey for Thanksgiving is the prep time. Now, if you get a frozen turkey, you don't want to do it the day before. You may want to get a frozen turkey 3 or 4, 5 days ahead of time. Let that thing thaw out in the refrigerator a couple of days, and then you want to brine it for a couple of days. So you really need to plan a little bit ahead on this. And that's what I did here, is I went ahead and got this, big boy, this butterball turkey. It was froze 3 days ago. I put it in the refrigerator to let it thaw, and now we're ready to do a brine. And we're going to do the brine for at least 24 hours, 48 hours, even better. Another thing that's really going to be helpful with brining a turkey is I have these brine bags. These are 20 by 30. They're food grade. This is 5-gallon bags. You can use these for a 5-gallon bucket. I'm just going to tie it up because how many people has room in their refrigerator for a 5-gallon bucket? So I'm just going to put it in the bag, put it in a bowl so I can kind of maneuver it around, and we're going to go from there. So these brine bags are really handy. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link in the video description, so if you want to check these out, and hopefully you'll get them in time for Thanksgiving. So we need to get this video out really quick. So let's pull the camera down and get started. Now I am going to keep this really basic. Now whenever you open your turkey, you got to realize that there's going to be a lot of juice in there, so we're going to open this in the sink. I want to go ahead and get this carrying cover off first. We're going to go to the sink and drain all the juice out that we can. Then we're going to come back over here and be prepared for a little bit of cleanup. Now I drained a good bit of juice out of here. So still going to have a good bit. Probably not a bad idea to keep some paper towels handy. Okay, one of the things we're going to have to deal with, and hopefully you're thought out enough to take care of this, is get rid of the items on the inside. And don't forget to check the other end. We're probably going to have the heart and the liver right there. I've washed my hands so that I don't contaminate my other bags, because I plan on using some of these other bags in the future. So just lay these aside, and you can see these are large bags. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to go ahead and start it down here in my bowl. Because I'm just going to pull down as much as I can. And we're just going to drop this turkey neck first in. Then we're going to pull up all of our excess bags. So you have enough bag to do a really large turkey. So we're going to start off with 2 quarts of water. This is going to be really simple. We have 2 quarts of water and 1 cup of coarse salt. And we're going to stir this and try to get as much of the salt in solution as we can. We probably won't get it all, but the longer you let it set, the better it will be dissolved. You don't have to warm this up, you don't have to cook it, you don't have to boil it. This is the basic very basic salt brine. I'm using Redmond's real salt. You can use kosher salt or sea salt. You can let that set longer if you would like, but at this point it's really not going to matter. But we're going to go ahead and pull out all of the wrinkles so that we know that we can not have any run over. And the way I'm going to do it, and the way I like to do it, is instead of just trying to get it in the bag, I like to pour it down inside the turkey first. And then let whatever runs over, runs over. Like I said, you can let this set for longer and give it a stir every now and then, and it will be all in solution. But we're going to be fine just like this. The tricky part is getting all of the air out. Now, if you want to, you can add a little bit more water. It's not going to be a problem. And I think that's one thing I may do. I may add another quart. It's not going to be a problem. We pour some down in it since we have the concentration of salt on the inside and then some on the outside. The main thing is we want to be able to get all the air out. Push down on the turkey a little bit. And if you had a second set of hands, it'd probably be helpful as well. There we go. Now we can spin it. And what I like to do is just tie a knot in it. You can do a slip knot, but you're not going to save the bag, so we want to make sure we don't have any problems. And honestly, this is going to fit in your refrigerator way better than a 5-gallon bucket. Okay, now we're going to put this thing in the refrigerator and we're going to leave it in for at least 24 hours, and we'll show what we got to do to prep it for cooking then, and we'll finish it up and then we'll try it out. Okay, it's been somewhere between 24 and 48 hours. I'd say probably about 36 or so. And here is our turkey. It has been sitting in our salt brine for all this time. Now I'm going to do this in my sink so I can drain all the liquid. So we're going to go off camera just for a minute. We're going to come back with our bird and we're going to start prepping it for cooking. But before we do that, this is going to be the star of my show. This is the first piece that me and my wife collected before I was a collector. This is a piece that we purchased when we first got married out of the back of a truck or van, I can't remember now, from a vendor from Birmingham Stove and Range. This is a Birmingham Stove and Range number 14, and it has got the Made in USA here at the top. So you know it was made after they started putting the Made in USA, which is in the late 60s, probably 68, 69, somewhere around there. And it's a little rough, but the inside, it's not been milled, but it's still really smooth surface. And if you notice on the 12s and the 14s, you have this little bitty tab right here. Not much to hold on, but it's better than nothing. And nice pan. I've made a lot of biscuits in this. This is a pan that got me excited about making biscuits, and also the pan that eventually got me started into YouTube. Not to mention my daughter that really encouraged me. Now we're going to preheat our pan and our oven to 275 degrees. So we'll get this in the oven while we're preparing a bird. Now normally I would prep this bird in the sink, but because we're trying to film it, I'm going to do it on the table. So I'm just going to put it on a couple of layers of paper towels just to keep it from draining everywhere. So we'll just try to keep it as neat as possible. But like I said, do this in the sink, you'll be way better off. Okay, we're going to slide this out of the way just for a couple of minutes while we work on our injection. I have 4 sticks of semi-melted butter. And I say semi-melted, it's going to be a little more creamy once we stir it. We don't want it completely liquefied, but we do want it to be where we can mix our ingredients in there. The main thing that I'm going to be using is ground thyme. And I'm going to mix about a tablespoon of this in my butter. Now you can also, if you would like, you can add some other things in here if you want to. And a little goes a long ways, and you can see that. You can use black pepper. I personally like white pepper, so we're going to use 1/2 tablespoon of white pepper. Get all this here incorporated. Kind of squeeze out our lumps. And I believe this right here is going to be my secret weapon. This is a marinade injector. It's a 1 ounce injector. They make them larger and they make them smaller. I will leave a link to this one in the video description. This one comes with several injectors. You have one that has the hole on the tip. You have another one that has a hole on the side near the tip. And this one here has 4 holes. And that's the one I'm going to want to use. We're going to suck this up. And if it's a little too thick, you can put it in the microwave for just a minute. So what we're going to do is pull our bird back over. Now what I like to do, I don't like to just puncture many holes in it. I like to just find a place where I can go down deep enough, and I'll go down. I'll inject a little bit. I'll come out, but not all the way. I'll use the same entrance hole. Inject a little more. Do the same. And then get some more reload. I like to find that same hole. Okay, and now that we've kind of got this area down here pretty much covered, we're going to go to the other end, the lower part, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay, I'm going to do the same over here. At this point, because I'm getting down to the bottom where I'm sucking air, I'm going to switch to the tip that just has it on the side of the end, because I'm having trouble getting loaded completely. Okay, much better. And if you want to, you can also do the legs. And I'm going to warm this up a little bit. Probably got it a little warmer than I would like, but we're still going to be fine. But I do know it will be easier to load our syringe. Okay, and then you can also put some in the thigh. And I'm just going to go in from the inside. Just be careful not to stick yourself. I would suggest to keep your fingers out of the way. Okay, and at this point, we've got a little bit left. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour it down inside the bird. And anything left on the outside, you can just kind of smear it on. That's going to be fine as well. I've washed my hands so many times on this process. One thing I like to do is I like to take the wings and I like to fold them down, and it kind of tightens everything up a little bit. Just flip them back behind the back and tuck the legs back in. Now if the legs, if you don't have this little flap to tuck the legs in, you can use some twine and take care of that as well. So we're ready to put this in our pan. So let me slide this aside, clean this up, which it is a mess. Also be very, very careful in cleaning this because you don't want to poke yourself. I'm going to use this here as a way to keep my table from getting burned. Here we go. We have a hot pan. So we're just going to take our bird and we're going to drop it right in. Hear that sizzle? We're going to go that way. Now we're going to put this in the oven on our next to our bottom rack. To know when your turkey is done is not how many hours and how many minutes. It's what degree you reach. So we're shooting for a temperature of 165 degrees tops. Now we'll probably take it out at 160 and let it continue to internally raise that temperature. So we're going to set it for 160 degrees. So let's pull the camera down where we can see what we're doing inside the oven. So here we go. We have our probe right down in the thickest part of the breast. And we've got it set for 155. Now we're set at 155. Now we're shooting for a final temperature of 165. But once we get to 155, the temperature is still going to be raising. And on that last 10 degrees, we're going to bump up the temperature so we can get a nice browning on our skin. Now we're not putting tinfoil on this. It's just open in the pan inside the oven. We're not going to be doing any basting or anything like that. We're just going to let it cook straight on. Really, really simple. So once we get to 155 degrees, we will crank the temperature up in the oven to get us a good brown. So we'll see when we get to 155. Okay, our alarm has went off. We've reached our first target temperature of 155. So now we're going to raise our target temperature to 160. We're going to cut the oven up to 425 so we can get a nice browning on our turkey. So let's turn it up to 425 and we will watch it really, really closely. Okay, we've hit our target temperature of 165. So we're going to go ahead and pull the bird out. Let me pull the camera down so we can look at it as it comes out. Okay, here we go. I did leave our probe thermometer in there and we have increased to 169 degrees. You're going to go up about 5 degrees. Got a little bit crusty right here. Let's spin this around so we can kind of take a look at it. Probably could have tied the legs together. That little piece of skin that was holding them together broke. So at this point, we're just going to make a tent. And cover lightly. So we're going to let this rest for about a half an hour before we try to transfer it onto our platter. We may even take a slice or two and take a look at it. Okay, it's time to transfer our turkey into our platter. So let's pull the camera down so we can see what we're doing. Now this is always tricky, especially when you have a big, heavy bird. So I'm going to use my secret weapons. These are from my barbecue grill. This is my oversized spatulas. This is the way to go. So I can dig in. Our pan is still hot. I can dig in on one side and dig in with the other side. And this is the way to go right here. We're just going to go straight up and over. Piece of cake. You can see where we poked in a little bit with our marinade injector. And this is where we put our probe thermometer. And like I said earlier, injecting the marinade and making a lot of holes, then you're just going to have a really ugly bird. This one looks nice. We're just going to take a slice. Yeah, let's get a good. Oh man, that looks so tender. Well, that's good. Let's take us a little bit of a taste test here. That is so tender. But you can see some of the green where the thyme is inside. But this is very, very tasty. So I hope that this helps you on your journey of getting ready to make your Thanksgiving turkey. And if not for Thanksgiving, you can do it any time of the year. But turkey is the king of Thanksgiving. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I promise to keep more coming. And I just want to say thank you again for watching Cast Iron Cookware. Before you go, I would like to share something with you really quickly. In 1 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 34, it says, "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever." I just want to say, share the word and be a blessing.